Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to completely dismantle literally everything you think you know about your unfinished tasks, your procrastination, and, that incredibly heavy feeling that just keeps you glued to the couch. If you've ever beaten yourself up for not being productive enough, well, you are absolutely in the right place. So let's dive right in, because what we're looking at today is going to fundamentally change how you view your own behavior.
I want you to picture a really specific scenario for a second. Are you currently staring down a massive pile of laundry? Or, I don't know, maybe a mountain of unanswered emails? Or perhaps it's that workout routine you keep promising yourself you'll absolutely for sure start tomorrow. And instead of doing literally any of it, you just lie there, you scroll on your phone, and you just feel worse and worse with every passing minute. You're completely paralyzed, actively avoiding the work.
And while you're lying there, there's this voice in your head, right? It doesn't say, "Hey, you're struggling right now. Take a break." No way. It attacks you. It says, "You're lazy. What on earth is wrong with you?" We have all heard that harsh internal monologue. But I'm here to tell you, based on the actual research and the data we're unpacking today, that cruel voice in your head is factually, biologically wrong. Like, it's not just exaggerating, it is completely off base.
So this brings us to the myth versus the biological reality. Let's actually break down what's biologically happening with our behavior. To understand why that voice is so wrong, we really need a massive paradigm shift. Look at this stark contrast here. Somewhere along the way, society basically decided that human worth is measured strictly in output. The idea is, if you're producing, achieving, checking off boxes, you have value. If you aren't, well, society frames that as a total moral failing. We treat laziness as this permanent character flaw. But the biological reality? Actually, scratch that. Let's call it what it is. True laziness, like a willful, comfortable refusal to do things you are fully capable of doing, is incredibly rare. What's way more common is that your brain is hitting a biological wall it simply cannot currently climb.
Let's look at the first major culprit behind this wall: executive dysfunction. See, when you're dealing with burnout, your brain just isn't operating at full capacity. Executive dysfunction literally impairs your brain's ability to plan, initiate, and follow through on tasks. When this specific system is impaired, even a tiny task feels like it requires the energy of moving a literal mountain. You aren't just choosing not to start, it's more like you're standing at a locked door, and the key that used to work perfectly well just refuses to turn.
And this brings us right to the profound impact of mental health on our productivity. Just take a look at this breakdown. Chronic stress and burnout directly lead to that impaired task initiation we were just talking about. But look right below that. Anxiety and depression actually cause a literal drop in your dopamine levels. Now, dopamine isn't just the pleasure chemical. It's all about motivation. It's that anticipatory spark that actually gets you off the couch. So when mental health struggles completely drain your dopamine, well, that spark simply doesn't fire.
Because of that drop in dopamine, the task sitting right in front of you doesn't feel exciting or rewarding. It just feels like static. It feels gray, heavy, and honestly, completely pointless. And as we all know, pointless things are incredibly hard to start. When you combine that impaired task initiation with low dopamine, you get a physical and mental state that looks exactly like laziness from the outside. But underneath the surface, it isn't defiance at all. It's a state of deep, profound depletion.
Which perfectly leads us into our next section, low battery mode. Think of this as a highly effective protective response. We can actually think of this state of depletion as a totally natural evolutionary protective mechanism. Think about your smartphone. When the battery hits 5%, it doesn't politely ask your permission before shutting down non-essential functions, does it? No, it just automatically dims the screen and kills background apps so it can survive until the next charge. Well, your brain does the exact same thing. It's not being lazy, it is literally just trying to keep you going until you can recharge. This means we have to completely reframe how we view doing nothing. Your stillness, it's data. It is a crucial biological symptom. It's basically your brain acting like a check engine light on your car, pointing toward unrecovered stress, or quiet anxiety, or depression that's just draining your energy in the background. It's a loud, clear signal telling you that something is depleted and desperately needs attention, not punishment.
Now for the most important part, Practical recovery. Why we really need to start smaller.
So, if forcing yourself through sheer discipline, just white-knuckling it, or punishing yourself hasn't worked, we need an approach that actually aligns with your biology. The answer is absolutely not to try harder. It's to understand the counterintuitive difference between motivation and momentum. Motivation is a total trap where you wait to feel like doing something before you act. But listen, when your dopamine is low, you are never going to feel like it. Momentum, on the other hand, is acting first in the tiniest possible way and just letting the feeling catch up afterward. Let's look at exactly how to bypass that struggling task initiation system. We have to pivot away from the overwhelming goal and focus entirely on the tiny win. So instead of clean the entire apartment, your goal is just to put 3 things away. Instead of go to the gym, your only goal is to put on your shoes. Instead of answer all my emails, you literally just open your inbox and read 1. I really want to be clear here. These are not consolation prizes. You're not cheating at productivity. This is literally how you reboot a brain system that has gone entirely offline. Let's walk through this concrete checklist for getting those tiny wins. Step 1, you start tiny. Step 2, you act first to build that momentum. But steps 3 and 4, that is where the real magic happens. You need to physically cross the item off or literally say out loud, I did that, and then give yourself a small reward. Why? Because a brain running super low on dopamine desperately needs immediate signals that a task was actually worth doing. Doing this signals to your nervous system that engaging with the world is still safe and can actually produce something good. Which brings us to our final piece, shifting your perspective. Here is how we rewire that internal self-talk. Over time, those tiny wins really start to stack up. You're giving your brain low-stakes proof that starting things doesn't have to feel like climbing a mountain. But to truly recover, we absolutely have to look at the stark biological reality of our self-talk. Reaching for the whip and using shame to motivate yourself, that only deepens the biological shutdown. It tells your nervous system you're under attack. Compassion, on the flip side, isn't just some nice fluffy idea. It's a hard biological tool. It's one of the very few things that actually signal safety to your brain, allowing those offline executive systems to finally reboot and come back online. So instead of constantly asking, what is wrong with me? I want you to try using this powerful, perspective-shifting mantra. My resources are depleted right now, and this stillness is my brain protecting me while it recovers. That single reframe, shifting from a moral failure to a biological signal, changes absolutely everything. You're finally giving your brain exactly what it's been begging for, a little bit of rest and safety before it's ready to climb again. You are not lazy. You are never lazy. Your brain isn't broken. It is literally just waiting for a reason to believe that trying again is safe. So the very next time you find yourself frozen on the couch with a totally untouched task list, I'm going to leave you with this question. Will you reach for the whip, which we now know biologically guarantees failure? Or will you reach for the smallest possible win? The choice and the momentum is entirely yours.